Hello and welcome to the Post Up Podcast. This is Cyrus Rogers.
This is Kaunda Chama.
So, Kaunda Chama, you seem to be overjoyed at the moment because your predictions, your thoughts, your feelings, everything came true. This is like a fairy tale for you. You know, the Raptors are the NBA champions.
Yes, Cyrus. I'm actually overjoyed. I can't lie. The Raptors taking that series 4-2. That was something I wanted to happen, and it happened. I mean, enough respect to the Golden State Warriors. I mean, when you're injured that much and you still go up to game 6, that's not a small feat.
It definitely isn't. Look, you know I'm a Warriors fan. I've not hidden that from anybody. But I think that I'd like to think I'm not a wholly biased Warriors fan. It hurt because obviously I want my team to win. But having said that, as an African NBA fan, how can I not want the Toronto Raptors to go and achieve what they did achieve? For Masai Ujiri, for Serge Ibaka from the Congo, for Anunoby, who's from Nigeria via Britain, for Pascal Siakam, from Cameroon.
Patrice Mutombo.
Patrick Mutombo.
Patrick Engelberg.
There's so many African connections at the Raptors that you just think this was Africa's championship.
Yeah, Cyrus, look, to take it back, I'm at a bittersweet spot that I always find myself at this time of the season because first we got a winner.
Yeah.
And it was my winner for a change. It hasn't been my winner.
Your late winner.
2016.
Because you were like, okay, fine. It's clearly not the Cavs. Oh, wait, no, it's not the Lakers. Fine, the Raptors.
I was not with the Cavs. I was with the Lakers, and they didn't even make the postseason. Neither of those teams made the postseason, so I was like, I'm fine. I actually picked the Bucks, but they lost, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to go with that.
So many horses in the race, Kaunda. So many horses in the race.
But, when the regular season ends for me, it's a sad moment. But I celebrate the coming of the champion. But at the same time, I'm happy that the WNBA is still going on strong. Yeah. So I'm always spoiled for basketball. But Cyrus, look, big pat on the back for Masai Ujiri, the Toronto Raptors organization. I mean, I think that franchise, 24 years waiting. I mean, they've been through Vince Carter, T-Mac. I mean,
there was a sign that says, started from Banyani, now we're here.
Oh, my word.
and that's it, Andrea Banyani, from the bad calls and the bad days to suddenly being champions. And it feels as if Canada has won this NBA championship.
I think it's important to acknowledge that, Cyrus, because if you look at it, Larry, being the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
He didn't have a passport before.
Has never been out of the country. He got his first passport, his first international trip. It's just, it goes to show you the global nature of the NBA.
Exactly.
Now the trophy is not in the United States at the moment. Yeah. Well, the old ones are there, but the most recent one is residing in Canada.
And this is what's beautiful about what the NBA have been doing for so long. They've understood that sport is a global thing. And being able to expand, and the expansion into Canada was a marvelous thing 25 years ago. Because when you think about the Vancouver Grizzlies, when you think about the Toronto Raptors, and just how they'd hoped that this could be something that would come to pass, and lo and behold, it has. Yep. And it's taken a lot of different individuals to build up the Raptors to who they are today. And they are an international team. You look at the Africans on that team. You look at guys like Marc Gasol, a Spanish guy. Chris Boucher, who is on that Raptors roster. He's the Canadian that's representing.
Yep.
But these guys have also showed just how important it is to put in the hard work, because there's a lot of stuff that people have missed in this entire Raptors winning the championship thing. Somebody like Pascal Siakam, in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, his first Finals appearance, he scores 32 points. This is somebody who's won the G League championship and was G League Finals MVP. The same thing goes for Fred VanVleet, who played in the G League, won the G League championship with the Toronto's affiliate, and now is an NBA champion. Even their head coach, Nick Nurse, won the G League with the Toronto Raptors affiliate.
There's a big G League connection there.
The 905. And it goes to show you what the development cycle is about. That the NBA have put in place an opportunity for people to learn at a grassroots level in order to build their skills, to show that they have what it takes.
But Cyrus, it even goes deeper than that. One Pascal Siakam, you and I watched him at Basketball Without Borders. Was that not 2012 when he was just a scrawny little?
I can definitely say you watched him in 2012. I was still a young pup in these streets.
Well, we watched him. He was a scrawny little young boy from where? Douala?
Douala,
Cameroon. And look at him now. Look at
NBA champion
from Basketball Without Borders, which is the NBA's global development program for youngsters. Obviously, not everybody from Basketball Without Borders makes it into the NBA. And not everybody from the G League makes it into the NBA. But here's Pascal Siakam.
It shows that it can be done.
That is a true started from the bottom. Now we're here.
You know what's really interesting? To even take it further back. I mean, this is like a one-upsmanship in Back to the Future.
Oh, Lord.
That all of these guys have a link to Luke Mbamute and his ability to really bring basketball to the fore in Cameroon. Because throughout all of the young guys who've come through the Cameroon ranks, Luke's had some hand of assistance in making sure that they have the opportunities to go to things like Basketball Without Borders, which are generally held in Johannesburg, in South Africa. And so it's one of those where it becomes a continental showcase where people are doing it for their brothers. You know, and when you look at the makeup of this Raptors team, it is no accident that there are so many African players, because Masai Ujiri knows that the African kids are willing and able to do it as well. And I say kids when I'm even including Serge Ibaka.
You're exposing your age, Cyrus. We know you're older than Serge.
No, look, definitely. You should call me sir next time. But I think the thing about that, though, is that understanding that there's opportunities that the African guys can make the most of. And Serge Ibaka was phenomenal in these finals. Like, whenever he was called upon, he did something big. It was either blocks down where he was doing the blocker thing.
Absolutely.
Or getting the points, you know, scoring 3-pointers, scoring important buckets at times, showing the Warriors that you couldn't rest because Ibaka was willing.
No, Cyrus, you know, sometimes there was that rotation where they would use Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. There was no moment where you thought, oh my word, now Serge has come in, maybe the production's going to go down. Oh my word, Marc has come in, maybe the production's going to... It was just like, okay, they've just switched it up, one needs to rest. And Serge was beautiful in the paint.
He really was.
Second chance buckets, blocking, 3-pointers. I mean, look, after that one season in Orlando, he had me questioning.
He wasn't even there for the whole season.
He had me questioning him. I was thinking, is Serge over the hill early? And then he went to Toronto and something, I think maybe it's in the snow. I don't know. Maybe he loves the cold.
But I don't even think it's that, Kaunda. And I think this is the critical thing. We as fans tend to get sucked in to this belief system that people are over it because they can't perform in a specific space. When we actually forget that a lot of it has to do with coaching, the environment they find themselves in. Maybe they don't have the right kind of support structure. When you look at where Serge is in Toronto, he seems to be at home.
Or maybe they're too close to Disneyland.
I love that. Maybe there's like too many rides and
no, he's missing practices.
Like, yeah, that's it. Too much fun. And now they opened up a Star Wars section. I mean, gosh, I totally get it. But I think that's the other thing, is that perhaps there are also too many distractions because of, Orlando is a lot warmer. The climate is totally different. You're not out there, just wholly focused on trying to train and maintain. See what I did there?
No, I see you.
But I think this is also what's incredible about how the Raptors have also worked as an organization, because they've allowed the family side of this thing to really work. You've seen some of the videos that came through during the season of Pascal with his brothers and some of the people in his entourage having fun.
And Pascal's sisters would like to make it known that they also need acknowledgement.
Oh, yeah?
People have been talking about Pascal and his brothers, and his sisters took to social media sometime during the season and were like, hey, how about Pascal and his sisters? Big shout out to Pascal's sisters.
No, exactly, the Siakam sisters.
Yes, love that.
But I think it's important for us to just look at what happened with the Raptors this season. We've waxed lyrical about how good they were, and they were good. But I think there's a lot of stuff that has been written about Masai Ujiri and taking that gamble on Kawhi and what this means for Canada as a country and Canadian basketball and all of that. There is a renaissance that's happening within the basketball space, where teams that didn't feel that they could win championships before now look at the Raptors and think, why couldn't we beat the Golden State Warriors? Fine, there were injury issues, and the Warriors will obviously be like, if we had KD and we had Clay at full fitness, we'd be fine. People actually even forget that Steph Curry's been carrying an injury the entire postseason. He's been playing with broken, I think fractures in his fingers. That's why his hands is taped up.
Always taped up, yeah.
But they're not using that as an excuse.
Then again, that's a marksman extraordinaire. You could take those fingers off his hand.
Whoa.
That ball's still going in.
This is the same guy who hadn't been using contacts and was still making, you know what I'm saying?
Like, you can take those fingers. That's Steph Curry.
But the thing is that the Warriors didn't use these things as excuses. They too had benefited from injuries to their opponents before when they won in 2015.
Yeah.
So, and all credit to them. I don't know if you saw that the Warriors actually took out a full-page ad in a newspaper
to congratulate the the Raptors.
Yeah.
Good sportsmanship. I mean, look, Cyrus, at the end of the day, these guys showed great sportsmanship. I could see how the Raptors players reacted when some fans decided to clap when Kevin Durant went down.
Yeah.
You saw the respect that happened when with the Warriors players when that horrible incident was it in Game 3 when Kyle Lowry was a victim of that fan on the sidelines.
Yeah.
The Warriors fans were like, come
together.
on, we can't have this in our league. They were not like, he's from their opposing team, he's from Canada,
Exactly.
we don't care. They were like, no, this is our league, this is a brotherhood.
And that's it.
And I think watching this final series showed me a lot more of that. There was a lot of that happened when the foul happened on Klay Thompson. You saw Danny Green. He wasn't like, oh yeah, whatever. He was also like, no, I'm sorry, bro. He even went in like,
he
I was
apologized almost immediately.
genuinely trying to block that ball, and we collided, and I'm sorry, and that's like a season-ending injury. If you will, you'll probably sit out most of the season.
Exactly.
But still, you saw there was love shown there. You could see nobody was happy.
In fact, it's been really weird because some people talk about wanting to go back to the aggression and animosity of the NBA in the 90s and before that. And I don't want that. That's not the NBA that I've grown to love over the last couple of years, where it's really been about brotherhood. It's been about playing the game. It's been about trying to succeed, but not necessarily at all costs, And I think this is what's incredible about where we are, because like you've mentioned before and off the podcast, Drake and Steph Curry having a conversation like literally, maybe half an hour after everything's said and done.
Yeah.
And him saying, look, congratulations on your team winning, Drake. But Steph being magnanimous enough to say, that's good for you guys. We want it back though.
Yeah, Cyrus, look, I might disagree with you a little bit because I know I don't want the malice at the palace back. But
we don't want flying kicks or anything.
We don't want that back. But I would love to see Reggie Miller with the Pacers against the New York Knicks. You remember that kind of, it was not animosity, but it was like,
there's grudge. That's what it is. But that's what you had with, and
I think that's what Drake sort of brought back when he was that distraction on the sidelines.
It's still kind of playful because although the players might take it personally, and in some
Draymond Green sometimes might be like, hey, yo, enough of the mouth.
Yeah,
I'm trying to concentrate here.
But that's what it's all about. It's about trying to get in somebody's head about playing your part. Spike Lee did that for the Knicks, though not necessarily successfully. But the whole thing being
that's because he did not go and massage the coach.
No,
the secret is in the massage.
The secret's in the massage. Okay, I think that's what Spike Lee better work on his masseuse skills. But this actually means, and it's gone unsaid, the Drake curse is lifted. The Drake curse is over.
It is over. Okay, we'll put that one down. Drake curse is over.
Drake curse is over.
It's a pity it couldn't happen before Anthony Joshua, but that's another podcast.
Hey, look,
that's another podcast.
AJ better, make sure he's not made of glass. That's on him, But I think the thing here, especially around the finals, was the Raptors did whatever it took in the right manner. They defended well. They shot the ball well. They utilized their players to the best of their abilities. I think where the Warriors got things horribly wrong with it, they didn't have the right mix of players. Perhaps that's a bad job from GM Bob Myers, but I think it's more to do with the fact that when you have that many stars and you've got to pay all of them, there's only so much money to go around.
Yeah.
And so you have to rely on some of these guys who've been stalwarts of the team before, who aren't necessarily delivering. At least we saw in Game 6 that Andre Iguodala could actually still score. He scored 22 points. But then we had Sean Livingston, who didn't even manage to get double figures. And it's those kinds of guys that cost the Warriors this championship, because when players go down and key players go down, you've got to have production from a lot of different guys. And I think that's what we might see from the Warriors moving forward, is how they try to get productive players in that space.
Absolutely. But Cyrus, I need to sit you down around the table with you, Harrison Barnes, and Sean Livingston. I think you've got words to tell these young men, and I think one of these days we're going to have this little roundtable discussion. I'll bring those two guys because they have broken your heart.
They really have. Harrison Barnes
in the two championships that they've lost over the 5 years.
Yeah,
you've identified those two guys.
Those two guys is the reason.
I think let's insert a round of applause here for the Toronto Raptors no, Cyrus, for winning all of their 5 games at the Oracle Arena. Look, that place has got energy. I mean, I haven't been there. I've heard.
Yeah, but you can hear it.
You can hear it when you're watching it on TV.
And players talk about that.
And for you to go on the road for the entire season and win all your games at Oracle.
Remain unbeaten at Oracle Arena.
It's commendable. And you're playing against basically the best backcourt in the league, and arguably one of the best front courts in the league. And I think that was an achievement. I think there was a point where they said, you know the point, Cyrus, when your father, mother, whoever raised you, grandmother, takes off the training wheels on your bike, and you believe that you can do it, and you just start riding that bike. And I think that's what happened to the Raptors this season. They were like, oh my word, we could do it.
And we are doing it.
We did it again.
Yeah.
That's why I think when it was time to go in for games 3 and 4, and Nick Nurse told the Raptors, guys, let's go on the road, at least let's take one of these games. And Kawhi Leonard, in his most eloquent voice, said, bleep that. We're taking them both. And they took them both. I think that's commendable. I know they were playing against, an injured Warriors team.
But
we even forget that Kevon Looney had a ruptured cartilage.
But even then.
But let's give them credit because, like I said, these are human beings and they've been playing finals for the last 5 years, which is just over 100 games a season. Your body does take.
Exactly.
And a good number of them are in Team USA as well, which means they did the Olympics. It takes a toll on your body. And but still, let's not get too excuse laden here and just say big shout out to the Toronto Raptors.
The Raptors did it when they had to, and all credit to them. I think the thing here is that Klay Thompson played in a lot of those games. Yes, he missed game 3 because of injury, but you still have to play. And Steph scored 47 points.
47.
But wow, you still got to go out there and make your buckets in that hostile environment. And they did it. And this is also, when you look at the monkey that's been taken off a lot of people's backs, somebody like Kyle Lowry has been ridiculed by a lot of fans over the years for not delivering when he needed to. And, people even questioning whether or not he should be in that top 10 point guards in the league kind of debate. Then he made it count, especially in Game 6.
Look, Cyrus, he has got a history of struggling in the postseason. Let's put that on
definitely.
the table. And if you remember how he opened up this postseason in that home game against the Orlando Magic, where he scored
a massive total of 0 points.
0 points, and we were all like, okay, maybe it's that Kyle Lowry thing again happening. But look, I am glad he's been. Would you say vindicated now? Like we can restore that. Hey, you are one of the best point guards in the league.
You're a mighty fine NBA point guard.
Because when he started that Game 6, you saw he couldn't miss.
Well,
he was like, I'm here, guys.
And this is the beautiful thing about what all of this means, because there's a lot of players who've played in the NBA who've never won a championship. You can look at the likes of John Stockton, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, to come.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at point guards in particular.
Oh, okay.
Because look at those guys and just how heavily decorated they've been over the years. And
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing where you look at it and say, but Kyle Lowry, in all his glory, managed to do it on the biggest stage. And everybody talks about, you always have these different guys in your path. And yes, the Rockets had to play the Warriors and they couldn't beat them this time around. But the Raptors had to play the Warriors in the finals. And yes, the circumstances are different, but they still got to do it. And this is where it comes down to what the players have to deliver. Kawhi Leonard has done something remarkable. We haven't even mentioned him enough here. I think he's been getting enough plaudits everywhere else. But Kawhi was literally worth giving everything away for.
I think he deserves that key to the city that was given to him.
Man, he better. They might even give him another city. Okay, so we know he's been playing in Toronto. Why not give him the whole of Vancouver?
The whole of Vancouver as well.
Look, wherever you want, Kawhi.
Before we move off the Kyle Lowry discussion, let me just give you the reason why the likes of Steve Nash and John Stockton don't have rings. Right here. I spoke to Cedric Ceballos one day, and we were talking about this ring thing. And he was a great player. Sometimes he scored up to 50 points for the Lakers. He's one. He won Slam Dunk champion 1992, and he told me there was a time when there was this young man named Michael. When we were playing for 6 years, you were gonna win nothing.
And I
think John and Steve fall into
Steve
that.
Nash has bypassed the Michael Jordan era generally, but
you understand what I mean, though.
I get that. But you still have to play, and this is the thing, is that for every MJ, there's always somebody else.
And those 2 years that MJ took off, there was this big tall African called
Hakeem
Olajuwon. He was letting nobody touch that. He was like, Africa time.
I got this while you're away.
Yeah, while you're away. Let me just win 2 back-to-backs. You can take it when you get back.
And that's the beauty of it all, because I think this is also where we look at it in terms of dynasties and what people are talking about. Is the Warriors over? I don't know if that's necessarily the case. What I do know is that with the Warriors, you always have a team who are willing to do whatever it takes in order to win, but do it the right way. This is a franchise that prides itself on being great sports, playing the game in an entertaining manner, and having fun while they're doing it. And this is, also where that KD and Draymond beef came in. Like, I thought we were here having fun. Now you want us to be serious. There's lots of different questions.
So, Cyrus, speaking of questions, do you think we could ever get the 2017 Warriors back?
No.
And I don't mean like everybody coming back. I mean them playing at that level. Unstoppable, like just...
I think the Warriors juggernaut as such is over. But I think the Warriors have also had to learn a couple of hard truths. I don't think that the Warriors... Well, let's put it this way. There's a few things that actually we brought up before the finals began. One of them being, this is the first NBA finals the Warriors were playing without having home court in the last couple of, the last championship runs.
Yeah.
They also took their foot off the gas when it came to the regular season generally, though they still won the Western Conference, if you can believe it.
I think they were saving a bit of energy for the postseason. Yeah. Cyrus, if I was the Warriors, I would learn a lot from that 73-9 season.
That's what you have to do.
You might go into that postseason out of breath, and then you meet the Toronto Raptors, who are very motivated, who are very defensive. They will wear you down. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't you say that that's what the Warriors did? But it didn't necessarily help because of injuries.
I think this time it's injuries more than that.
Well, but that's the wear and tear, and this is the other thing. That's why you do the load management and all of that stuff, because you're trying to minimize the wear and tear in the players. I think just to try and wrap off the whole NBA championship debate and discussion here, I think what we saw this season was basketball and the NBA righting itself again, in the sense that I'm not a fan of dominance. I don't like to see teams wholeheartedly just having a go. And I mean, when DeMarcus Cousins joined the Warriors, everyone was like, well, that's it. They might as well just give him his ring now.
Yep.
And now, at the end of the season, nobody's talking like that, because obviously it's come to pass that things were different, that things changed, that DeMarcus Cousins couldn't just walk his way into a ring. And I don't even think that Cousins necessarily expected that, but I think that he hoped that it would happen.
Absolutely.
But when you look at something like the situation with Kawhi and Toronto, and I hope that he stays there, but it doesn't necessarily look like he will, that's what hard work looks like. That's what dedication looks like. It's saying, I'm going to go out there and do my damnedest in order to win the top prize. And he said that to the guys from minute one.
No, look, enough respect to Kawhi. Those are results of hard work and dedication, a bit of luck as well, because, nobody expected so many Warriors players to go down. I know I keep referring to that, but everything happens for a reason. I know that's cheesy as all cheesy gets.
They even made a song about it.
But you know what I mean? Like, it just so happened that he went on this 1-year rental to the Raptors.
The supposed 1-year rental,
And Cyrus, going back to Masai put his own legacy, his own future, his own security in a rookie coach. We forget to mention that. Like, Nick Nurse had not coached at this level ever in his life. He must be, waking up every day pinching himself like, wow. It was cool when Dwayne was around, because, he was the guy, and then I could take tips from him. But now it was like, okay, I got to read from the book of Dwayne and then write the book of Nick and take these guys all the way. And he did that.
And this is a beautiful thing, because when somebody gives you the confidence to fly, you can either do it or you don't do it. And Nick Nurse has definitely gone and showed that he has the chops for it. Though, a couple of timeouts will show that there's definitely some rookie decisions that are coming his way that could have cost them, and they didn't this time round.
Absolutely.
But I think the thing is that Nick Nurse will get better as a coach, and he's won an NBA championship, and fair play to him, being one of the few rookie coaches to do that. You know, Teron Lue, Steve Kerr, and now him having done it in recent years. I think that what's incredible, though, is the ability for us to still sit back and say, Masai's gamble. Because even when we spoke to him when he was here, and we spoke to him a couple of times about it, he didn't necessarily want to do press about it when he was here for Basketball Borders last year, but it was a question he had to address, and he addressed it fairly quickly. And he said, look, I had to make a call. DeMar's gone, Dwayne's gone, we've got new people, let's focus on that. Nobody's going to remember this as being a bad call. I was thinking about this recently. Masai Ujiri now can basically write whatever checks he wants going forward in his life.
Well, rumor has it, on the streets, I heard that the Washington Wizards are ready to offer him a very good deal if you go and help them clean up house over there.
And I don't see it happening because that's a heck of a mess. But but I think the thing is, he's the kind of coach who could go wherever, or GM or president who can pretty much go anywhere, because even if he fails for the next 12 years, he'll always have this as the success that he needed. And I don't think that Masai Ujiri is the kind of person who will fail. I think that his ability to look at a situation, assess it properly, and then make the right calls to adjust it is what has made him the person he is today. Because his reputation wasn't based off what happened now. This is a guy who won Executive of the Year when he was at the Denver Nuggets.
I was about to say, Executive of the Year when he was at the Nuggets. Do you think with this, he could be up for a second accolade?
Well, he should be. I mean, let's be totally honest. How many presidents of basketball operations or GMs have ever done something as spectacular as this? As the Raptors winning an NBA championship?
In recent history, one, and that's Masai.
I think he's the one who's really made it's not often you see the power breakers do their work, and a few of these guys stand out. You look at the Clippers and the legend that is there in the logo, and what he's doing at the Clippers organization and what he did at the Warriors before. There are things that certain people do that just stand out. And then you have other GMs who people can rightly call out and say, what were you doing? Is that really what you did with all these picks that we got? And I think this is where you see what the work of a good man is. But final thoughts on the NBA Finals.
My final thoughts is Cyrus, and I know you might diss me for doing this one, but I gotta do this one. Kawhi joins now a select group of 3 players, him and 2 others. One being Lou Alcindor, who later became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who won Finals MVP on 2 different franchises. Another one who didn't change his name. His name is LeBron James, who won it at the Miami Heat and with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, here's Kawhi Leonard, number 2. He won it with the San Antonio Spurs. Now he wins it with the Toronto Raptors. I'm actually so proud of this young man, Cyrus. I know last season wasn't his best season with all that drama with the injury with the Spurs, but look at him now. I mean, to me, besides the fact that Serge is now a champion, OG is now a champion, Pascal is now a champion, Masai is now a champion, Patrick Mutombo is now a champion. I'm sure Patrick Engelberg gets something, a certificate or a ring. I'm not sure what he gets, but
they're all part of this organization.
The championship Raptors. Cyrus, we were with Kyle Lowry 2 years ago. Do you realize that?
Yeah, no.
In Africa.
I was chatting to him in NOLA, and you never know the path people will go down. I think this is also the beautiful thing, because we were with Pascal recently as well. He wouldn't, if we had told him he'd be a champion by the end of the season, he might have laughed at us, but also proven it right. And the only thing for me, and this is not necessarily a sore point, but I felt that Pascal Siakam had done enough this season to become an All-Star by the time the All-Star break came around.
Well, when we initially started voting, remember he was right up there. But I think now he cannot not be it.
Well, let's put it this way: he's got to keep the same level
if he maintains
of play.
That level of play.
I think that come February next year, Pascal Siakam is going to get his first All-Star game appearance, and rightly so, and rightly deserved, because this is also one of the few teams in the NBA who really have. I mean, you've got 2 All-Stars on that team.
Yep.
In terms of
Kyle
Lowry and Kawhi Leonard. I think Danny Green might have gotten. Look, the All-Star appearances aside, I think the thing about it is that this isn't a highly decorated Raptors team, but they did what they needed to do. My final thoughts on the entire NBA Finals was, what a ride.
Oh, yes.
What an absolute ride. It had everything. I would have loved, if there hadn't been the injuries, I would have loved a Game 7. But I think that what happened was the perfect end to an incredible season, with the Toronto Raptors being crowned champions and the whole of Canada getting to celebrate. It's like it's a public holiday in Canada. In fact, it feels like it's a public holiday week.
Cyrus, it had to end at Oracle because there had to be a last game.
Yeah.
Of the,
it makes sense. It's like a
bookended
bookended era.
Yeah,
almost.
it was like, hey, bye Oracle. It's been nice. We love you. And this is the last game we're giving you. Maybe we're not winning as the Warriors, but hey.
A champion was crowned here.
A champion was, in the last game at Oracle, a champion was crowned there. Boom.
Yeah.
Done.
And I think it's a beautiful thing. Now we get a whole new season with, the free agency is going to be insane. You've got the Warriors moving into a whole new arena in San Francisco. You've got just the question marks about what's going to happen. We've seen what happened with the NBA Finals now. Kaunda, I just want your thoughts. The Anthony Davis move to the LA Lakers. You must be excited as a Lakers fan, as a LeBron fan. I mean,
Cyrus, I'm very excited. First of all, when you put a versatile player like Anthony Davis alongside a seasoned vet now in LeBron, it's always exciting. And you had always mentioned that AD will be the kingmaker, and he's going to join the guy I call the king. So maybe he's going to put a second crown on that king, and now he'll be the king's king.
The king's king.
So, Cyrus, look, first of all, there's been a couple of moves where they've lost some great players in Lonzo Ball, and they've lost Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart.
And the number 4 pick.
And the number 4
That's a
pick.
big deal.
Look, in terms of picks, I don't stress too much because, who would have thought that who's the young man from Philly would be now languishing in Orlando? Michael Fultz.
Oh, yeah.
So picks don't really, and if I look at where Steph Curry came in, picks
But
to
the
me.
thing about the pick is that they might not necessarily keep it. It's what they can trade it for.
They might trade it for. But anyway, back to the Lakers. I think they've got an opportunity to rebuild that legacy using LeBron and if AD decides to stay for a longer period, because then they can attract maybe a third star, depending on how they work their finances out, and make that big three. You can never go wrong with big threes. You remember LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. You remember Steph, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. You remember... who's that?
Tim Duncan, Tony Parker,
and Manu Ginobili.
Yeah.
And you also remember at the Miami Heat, we had the Flash and
Dwayne Wade, LeBron and Bosh.
So to me, it's like I'm excited that might happen, but in today's NBA, first of all, you got to have better perimeter shooters. And your bench has to be deep
and a deep
as
bench.
all heck. So
that's what the Raptors want.
If the Lakers can do that, I'll get more excited. But at the moment, I'm just excited at the prospect that AD is coming to the Lakers. Cyrus, he brings so much versatility. First of all, he can shoot from the perimeter. He can own the paint. He defends well. I mean, he's one of the only players that I know. Well, not that I know, but one of the few players that I can call off the top of my head who can give Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I think is a great player in the paint, a run for his money. I've seen those two go at it. And now that guy is on my Lakers?
Yeah.
Cyrus.
Look, I get that, and I guess I'm not necessarily not excited. I'm not a Lakers fan by any stretch of the imagination. And there's something about LeBron James where I feel like, look, anything can happen when he's on a team. He's an exceptional basketball player. But I do think that what happens with Anthony Davis at the Lakers, if he can stay long term, is that he becomes the face of the franchise when LeBron James eventually departs. And he's young enough, he's only 26 at the moment.
Yep.
I've always loved the look of him. I love what he does and what he brings to a team. And it's the work on both ends of the floor. But I do think that the Lakers' biggest, how would you call it? Challenge would be, how do they maximize what's left of what they have in terms of cap space and players they can bring through? Because they have a lot of positions they need to fill out. This isn't like a Lakers team that has a point guard that is going to stick around, that has a shooting guard who you can rely on. There are a lot of positions. It's not just the bench, it's the rest of that starting five that you got to put together. And so, do they hold on to somebody like Rajon Rondo? Maybe. But will it cost them too much in the long term? if they're looking for another star, they're looking at somebody like Kemba Walker, or is it Jimmy Butler, or who is it, and how do they complement the other guys on that team? And then outside of that, they've got a new coach and coaching staff. Remember that, yes, Frank Vogel is the head coach, but you're now also bringing Jason Kidd into the mix as well as others. So there's a lot of names, and the Lakers have been in turmoil. You look at what happened with Magic Johnson and the issue with Rob Pelinka, and you just think, okay, there's a lot happening here.
Not to forget Luke Walton.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Obviously, with Luke having gone and all of that stuff, it's the stuff behind the scenes that will really determine what happens on the court. And as much as Anthony Davis is a fantastic player, and as much as LeBron James can pretty much do whatever he wants, there's a lot of things that have showed that there's still a heck of a lot of work for the Lakers to do. Because LeBron's got to get back on D now.
Yep.
And you can't just be like, oh, AD, you're young enough. Just make sure the young Bucks know what they're doing. It also is about the ball movement. It's about the style of play. It's about the things that they want to do going forward as a team. So I'm excited to see what happens next season, because the free agency is going to be a heck of a thing. We haven't even talked about the draft. That's for another podcast.
Absolutely.
And obviously what happened with free agency and what happens in the WNBA. We are loving this. We love the game. Make sure you keep logging on to postupzone.com. It's the home of basketball. It's where ball meets life.
Absolutely. And, we'll be bringing you more exciting stuff from the NBA, from the WNBA, from the Basketball Africa League, from FIBA. Most things that have basketball to do with, we might cover them.
Well, not might. We definitely will. And you know that you want to see it first on postupzone.com. Thank you for listening to the Post Up Podcast. From me, Cyrus Rogers, it's goodbye.
And me, Kaunda Chama, is arrivederci.